Okay, it looks like we're live, which is always good news. This means you don't have to see me in the context of a seance. So I'm going to move the camera back a little bit. Ah, and this is so jury-rigged. Really. Okay, before anybody even shows up, I'm going to make the standard disclaimer. Hi, I'm D Ocean with the Woo, Deep Woo news, and we've got a lot there. I got some stuff to tell you. Seriously, some stuff went down today. Uh, but I have to preface it. Have to be careful how I do this. I have to preface this by saying, and that just shows this little thing here. I don't really show. Anyway, I have to preface it like this. As always, what we talk about here is in Matrix, news. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with quote unquote real life, which happens outside our Matrix that we're in here playing. This multiplayer, massively multiplayer, total immersion learning game that we're all playing, and the state of it and the state of our existence in it. I'm getting insights even more into what that is like, and it's very mind expanding, but it's very tiring at the same time. And so I talked to Gemini Moon today, whom some of you know from this channel, and she was definitely she had some questions that she wanted me to do pendulum work, and we won't go into the personal stuff. But that opened up a discussion, and somehow the discussion just to open up a lot of things. Getting my pendulum out, just the pendulum was going nuts. And I said, it really wants to talk today. It really has something to tell me. So I calibrated it and tested it to make sure that it was ready to go. And we asked a few questions that were off the topic she called about. And some pretty mind-boggling stuff emerged. But I have a feeling, oh, hello, Micah, how you doing? Hi, you made it first in. If you can, could you drop a clue in MeWe that I'm on? Because I didn't get to do it. I was kind of struggling with getting in here, and StreamYard gives me a little bit of trouble every time I try to come in now because of some kind of reconnection thing. But if not, that's okay too. Somebody will, they'll eventually see it. Anyway, yeah, we haven't seen you in a while, and you've been on my mind, though. And I've been wondering, but I realized there was a lot going on with you and didn't want to bother you, in case you had a lot that, I mean, anyway, I'm glad you're doing great now. You weren't doing that great before. Now you're doing great. That's good. Um, I'm glad to hear that. So, of course, it's always a thing when Gemini stuff comes up, but a lot of times this was just wiped me out. It was so vast. It just opened something up so big that trying to take it in was almost too much for me in my temporal state here now. Um, big, uh, big view. One thing that came up, I decided to ask some questions, since the pendulum was out, and uh, I haven't been wrong too often. In fact, I can't remember when I've gone very wrong at all with the pendulum work or with my intuitions with what I see. I'm cautious about saying what I see uh, because I don't want to put my own self into it, as far as my opinions, and my biases and stuff. I'm trying to keep them out of it. But and I, also have to be careful how I say things. Uh that's another trick of this is because, there's some things you can say that and some things you can't say if you don't want to start having trouble. So, once again, this is in-game talk. Yes. So, hello, Pam. How are you doing, sister? And hi, Alexander, the ganja shaman. How are you doing? Um, yes. Well, this is a new face. Hi there. Uh, we have definitely hit on something here. Uh, I just tossed out there after I did her. The pendulum was just going nuts. It was way powered up. And it was shivering and it was, just spinning wildly. And I'm like, he really wants to talk. Well, good time to ask questions. So we just started asking random questions. Oh, the baby girl comes home tomorrow, Pam. Finally. Oh, good. Yeah, that's great news. I've been hoping that for you, that I've been trying to get that to happen too, sending my intentions. Um, so I'm watching this spinning pendulum. We got to ask it something. Come on, it wants to talk. What can we ask? One of the things I asked is, hey, I just threw it out randomly. Will I see a Sasquatch this year? And then, and time this summer, I think I said. And time is really hard with a pendulum a lot of times. Um, since time isn't time to us is not time in the universe, so to speak. It doesn't translate always well, but it said, yeah, yes, definitely, yes, big, strong yes. And I'm like, I've been getting that feeling, and I ask, am I really mind speaking with them when I'm getting these strange answers out of nowhere when people ask about Bigfoot, am I really mind speaking with them? Yes. And I started to wonder, were they actually trying to warn me about these creatures that were out in the woods a couple years ago? Yes. We had some things that we had to handle out there. Not good things. I spoke of them briefly. I'm going to touch on a subject now that's going to sound way out there, but we do deep woo, don't we? This is what we do. Deep woo is what we do here. So I said, well, do they want to contact me? I got the feeling they want to contact me for some reason. They're contacting a lot of people. They're actually making contact, which is not something that is typical of them. I mean, usually they stay away, they mostly stay away from people unless they feel you're not a threat and they want to talk to you. You generally don't see them unless they want you to see them. There seems to be rules about that. However, in our community, we already know about them, and maybe the rules are relaxed because we already know that they exist, 100% believe they exist. So there's really nothing to hide that way. For some of us, it's a done deal. They exist, they're beings, they have intelligence. They're not just ape men, there's more to it than that. They know they dwell in family units. They know they can't, we mind speak with them. They are telepathic and can speak to you that way. Although sometimes it's hard to tell when that's really happening because you usually think it's your thoughts coming into your head. A lot of these beings are telepathic, and this is how we get trapped by some of them. Is they're telepathic and they can make us think different things, where we don't even recognize, a lot of us, that that's even possible. So how would we know we're being tricked? Or how we know we're being spoken to? I think probably that has been on purpose because, how do we defend ourselves from that if we don't even know that that could happen, right? Or if we think everything is a demon or an angel, or, if we think we're the only intelligent life here, and that has all been fostered as, for quite some time. So it's not true. We aren't the only ones here. Not by a long shot, and we never have been, probably our whole existence. We have not been alone the whole time. I don't think so. Somehow, I don't think there was ever a time when we were truly the only thinking species here. So if you're worried about invasion, I think it already happened thousands of years ago. And I just heard a video about a guy who thinks thinks they might have pinpointed exactly where it might have happened thousands of years ago, where the first landing was, or the first contact, or whatever. But it's also a matter that we don't think. We've been trained to think that everything is coming from outer space, and it's not. There are a lot of things that are underground. And that's one of the things that came up. These things that we were dealing with out there on an astral level. And we had to deal on an astral level. I deal on the astral level. I have not physically had to kick anything's butt yet. It's not my job. I deal with things in the astral and on a psionic level. That's what I do. Somebody else is going to have to do it on the physical level because, you know, I'm just not that kind of soldier. I'm not a soldier at all. In fact, I'm a shaman. But the weird thing about it all is, yeah, we got more than we asked for when we asked about. I started saying, okay, well, if I'm in contact with them, they have a reason, obviously they have a reason, yes. By the way, they have a tendency to like to contact redheads and blondes, Um, I hear from what I think I'm hearing. I was talking to Jim and I about what I was hearing in my head about this subject is there's not only the connection with the Anunnaki, but there is, because they're young, have red hair, So in a way, we kind of remind them of their children, but also there is the Anunnaki connection somehow. And although we're not entirely sure, but for some reason they need to contact people because they're going to need allies, it looks like, in an upcoming war. I've heard this before. Some kind of conflict or war coming up, and we're going to need to be allies with them in order to win it. Well, if you ask me, they're pretty good allies to have if you think about it. But we have something they need too. I mean, you'd think they have superior strength. They have, a larger size. They're very stealthy and have all kinds of abilities, because of what they are that we don't really commonly have as, human individuals in our particular avatars that we're having here. Hi, Linda. Oh, hey, good to see you. Richard. Yes, I'm glad to see you. Okay, so basically, they wanted to get in touch with me because I'm, a shaman. I've dealt with these things out there before. Those things came from below. And other people have run into them, and you're lucky if you survive running into them. That was going to be a trap out there because I had escaped the other traps so far. And the connection had been lost, and so there was going to be one last trap. I think that was probably what had, in the days of COVID, yeah, that might have done me in, having to be, stick in my place and not, and having to ward off so many of these crazy energies, which, by the way, if you've been tired and having a lot of weird effects, we are having tremendous sunspot activity and coronal mass ejection activity right now. So the electromagnetic field of Earth is really wavy gravy right now. So if you are also having weird effects like yesterday, I couldn't keep myself from dropping things. Physically, it was a rough day. I was fine in the morning, and by the time noon came and I was supposed to go somewhere, I just couldn't do it. I was nauseous. I had to lie down. Out of just nowhere, feeling really terrible, dropping things. not feeling like I could really even go out, and I had to tell my friend I couldn't go. And like, what the heck? And I hadn't even eaten anything or drank anything or anything. I'm like, what the heck? I was fine earlier. Well, we've got this tremendous sunspot and coronal mass ejection stuff going on. Well, yeah, that will affect you if you're sensitive to it. You'll feel it. I certainly do. And I think I'm going to have to attribute quite a lot of what goes on with me at odd times to that. So, well, I miss you too. So there. Hi, I don't know how to pronounce that. Is that a tear? Paleko? Numinous. Hello. That's a new name too. That's a new person. So basically, it looks like they're contacting some of us because they also need some of the skills we have. I used to be a person before I kind of went into semi-retirement about it, that you used to call, I was, and I hate the term Ghostbuster. That isn't exactly right. I would clear up phenomena for people that they were having. I would clear that up for them. And sometimes I would have to boot some stuff for them. And quite often, in fact, I would have to say, hey, they don't want you around. Or just boot them, period, without without any talk at all. Just sorry, you can't keep doing that. You got to go. So I mean, I do that, and I do a lot of crossing overs of people who have somehow gotten trapped here after their post-death, and the game keeps trying to throw them out, and they keep lingering anyway, and it's a horrible thing to be trapped here. You should be immediately, once your life is over, you should be ejected and sent home. You should go right home. But people weren't. And we had to correct some spots where that was happening. It was part of the inverted matrix, part of the inversion, part of the virus. And so we had to get rid of it, that in a few spots. And I think we've got it repaired. I don't think everywhere, though. I think we're still working on it. We also have the rinse and the veil, that we have people here, in fact, that can do that kind of thing, that can actually repair the rinse and the veil. We have all kinds of skills that are not necessarily common, but we're going to need them for the next lap of the journey here. Apparently, and this really, when I started thinking like this, and then all of a sudden everything opened up, there are things that are actually not coming from above. They're coming from below. And I just saw another guy stating this on a video, that we're sometimes being glamored to look up in the sky when we should be looking a little deeper. So, yeah, there are things coming up from below. It looks like the battle we're going to be fighting is going to be with some of those things. And it's not a pretty thing to look at. And it's not that I'm afraid, because I know we're going to win. That's already been foreseen. We win. However, it's not going to be pretty. And we were talking about, we asked about a story about a fallen angel, about 4 fallen angels that were supposed to be released. Here we go. Real woo is that people have reported that they have actually found creatures that appear to be fallen angels, and managed to destroy one. Well, supposedly there were 4 trapped here, and they were due to be released and basically spread chaos throughout the world. I don't want to use too scary of terms. And apparently that was true too. We have some things that had been trapped here for a long time that are due to be released in the end days. So, stunning climax to our times. And I was as surprised as anybody could be to learn that this is actually the truth, and that what they found actually was what we would call a fallen angel, and that there were actually originally 3 more, but one of them was actually destroyed. Well, yay us, because already we've gone off of what the script was. We're already off script. This is great. Because there's one that will not be in that number, against us. So, yeah, the threat is coming from below us, not above us. That is the big thing I'm seeing. And we are getting more and more evidence that not only they've talked about things down in the DUMBs, DUMBs. We've heard about these things. We've heard about the sort of stuff that Bud Hopkins talked about. And these are not humans, and they're not exactly ETs. Not that all of the reptilian or serpent people are necessarily evil, but we have quite a few that are, I guess. And we have to be careful of that. And this is very woo. Like I said, this is going to be multi-dimensional woo tonight. It's going to be as way out there woo as you can get. Okay? But remember how often my pendulum and I have been right. How often have we been? This is a mind-boggling thing. I'm so often right with this thing that when it tells me, when I test it and we're all good, and it tells me this, and I'm going, what? I get surprised like anybody else. What? Are you telling me this is real? This is true? This isn't just somebody's story. Holy cow. Oh boy. So we're going to be fighting these things from below. And apparently, in order to win it, we're going to have to be allies with what turns out to be a sort of a brother species, the Sasquatch. What? What? That right there is enough to me. Holy cow. And some of you know I wasn't always interested in Sasquatch. Usually you don't get that interested in Sasquatch until you run into them for some reason. Until then, you're just kind of, what's Sasquatch? Is there Sasquatch? A lot of people don't really care until they run. Well, I kind of ran into them. I mean, I was asking them for some proof and they gave me some. And I mean, something I asked for as simple as I said, gee, it'd be nice if I had walking stick about the right height for me. I could use a little. And I got a walking stick leaned up against the tree. I mean, when I said, you know, I wonder if I'm really talking to them and would you please give me some kind of sign as I'm telling the rest of the woo crew here. I'm talking to them saying, I feel like I'm in touch with them. Would you give me some kind of sign? I'm in my bedroom alone, talking like I am talking to you now, and I hear little pebbles pelting my window. You know, after the rest of the day's events, which was some trace that I had been heard when I said, hey, are you really there? Am I really talking to Sasquatch? So, what I know of these creatures on an astral level, we fought them. I and my friend, it took both of us. They were very tough, though. And the reason they're so tough is because they're so multitudinous. There's a lot of them. And they're not higher than us at all. They're actually lower, but they do have some abilities. They're strong telepaths, which means they can mislead people. And what you would call a demon, I mean, most people would call them demons. Yeah, they would fit most people's criteria. Apparently, we're going to have to battle that at some point. These things, and not just on an astral level, it looks like a physical level at some point. And I don't know how to do much on a physical level. I only know how to do things on the spiritual side. So I guess that'll be my job. But it's still, as I was talking about that, what my job was, and I started thinking, well, what else is my job? And I what, because I kept getting the feeling that there was way more to this. All of a sudden, my multidimensional self opens up, and I'm also on some kind of a starcraft, some kind of a ship. And I can see space and I can see what would be, I guess, the bridge of the ship. It looked a little bit, actually, Star Trek wasn't that far off. Not that far off from what it looked like inside there. And I'm like, oh, come on, is this real? Yeah. Okay, but what else? Is the one who works at the Hall of Records, the library, the living library, um, which is a whole thing that we haven't discussed very much on here. The living library is a version of Earth where we have a repository of all of the knowledge that we can scan, that we pick up all over the galaxy. So it is like a learning center and an information center, and it is a version of this world, this realm of ours here. So yeah, Bigfoot. Well, Linda, we know Sasquatch. Yes, we do, and we know who reptilians are. Well, the Bigfoot. Okay, let me make it very clear, Linda. And these reptilian beings, and I mean, Deb helped me take a look at these things. I had other people scanning these things. It's not just me that sensed these. I had to check this very carefully because this is big stuff for us. This has huge ramifications. These reptilian-like things come from below. They're radioactive. They're very toxic. Their world is very toxic to us. Everything about them is toxic, and they've said as much because other people have experienced them. And when they think they gotcha and you're going to die, then they tell you stuff. Just like a villain, a typical movie villain. They got to give you the exposition. And some people have managed to live through that point and got some of the lowdown from them about what they're doing. And of course, they brag somewhat. But no, it looks like the Bigfoot want to be our allies and are getting in touch with some of us to be allies in this battle that is coming. They need us and we need them. So we need to communicate. We need to quit. They would not be violating the rules, which have for a long time been, humans and Sasquatch, unless we figure out that they're real and we know they're there, they have to stay hidden. It's part of their rules. But once we know about them and we know that they exist, and then, the rule relaxes somewhat. And they can then communicate with us and, be seen from time to time. It's not as big of a breach for them. So they are communicating with us because they need us and we need them. They know that we are related. They know that we're going to have to be in this together in order to win it. So we're going to have to build relationships with them and possibly some other cryptids. They may not be the only ones. I get the feeling that there are some, and I'm not saying across the board, but I get the feeling that there are actually some dogmen that are going to be joining us in this too, because they're here too. And anciently, there were dogmen talked about. In fact, St. Francis of Assisi was originally described as being a dogman. Yes, St. Francis of Assisi. This is why he was the way he was about animals. They are also very misunderstood, I feel. Okay? They inhabited very remote places. Once again, they like to be apart from humans. And yet, why are there so many wars? That's a big question, but the short answer is power. So, yeah, Bigfoot's going to be our allies. I figure that one branch of the dogmen, although we have some indication that there are some dogmen that have been GMO'd and are not necessarily positive at all. So, but there are some that still exist. And actually, they were talked about in ancient stories, the dogmen, and they have families too, just like the Sasquatch, and they're intelligent beings too. And this is their world too. I mean, this is their realm. This is our realm. We are three intelligent, I'm getting this like right now. We're three intelligent species There are more? Yes, there are more. There are more species. Oh God, I'm getting such chills. There are more. And yes, we must stand together in order to face what's coming. We can't be separate anymore. We have to acknowledge each other and help each other with this. This is what's coming. Now remember, I'm the one who told you disclosure is coming way earlier than anybody thinks. But we're part of that. The more we disclose to each other, the less reason there is to keep it hidden. And when it comes to the point where the majority of the people not only believe that it could exist, but believe it does exist, then there's no more reason to keep it secret. You're not doing yourself any favors keeping it secret. Not only that, but I have a very strong impression that there has been some sort of an ultimatum. Either you start disclosing, or we will. You do your way, or we'll start to do it our way. So now they have to. What did I say? This started when I said it was going to start. This year, I said this is going to be the craziest year you ever saw. You thought you saw some crazy years before? Oh no, this one's going to blow your mind. This one is going to be the craziest year of all so far. But 23 is going to make it look like a mere blip. It's just going to ramp up from here. Yes. And they want to get in touch with me too. See, well, that's the thing, B. Freeman. Oh, hi, B. Freeman. Sasquatch and Dogmen, they've got to learn. Apparently, they're going to have to learn to work together too, if they don't already. And I don't know. They have some treaties. I'm hearing that they have made some treaties, and they're not all alike. Once again, we're talking about the dogmen of old that we've heard stories about, like Saint Francis of Assisi type dogman, which was just a remote tribe of human, and they look basically like a cross between humans and dogs. Yeah, they had a snout like a dog. They were mostly, hunter-gatherer type people, and peaceful. They didn't get into human wars. They will this time, because it's not just a human war, it's this planet. It's a planetary, or if you want to say planetary, or this realm. It's a war for this realm. So, oh my goodness. A lot of them share the same area. A lot of them share the same territory, and they've made treaties between them, and there are some common bonds. I mean, like, this is our place. Disclosure is happening faster than anybody thought, just like I said. There is a sighting now. The latest statistic is every 8 seconds or so, there is a sighting of some kind of UFO. It's got some kind of UAP or UFO every 8 seconds. I'm like, what? Now, one of the shows I just saw recently was a guy talking about how they've been tracing this back to how do these things come here, manage to get into our realm. It has something to do with these magnetic spots on the earth, just as we've been saying, and they're kind of like portals, right? So they need to use those to get here. And there's only certain times when they open. And there's only certain conditions that they can live in because they come from a very hot, radiated, polluted place. And so when it's cold, I really believe that this is why they don't get talked about unless there's snow on the ground. In some Native American cultures, you don't talk about certain things unless snow is on the ground. Why? Because it's cold and it's wet and they can't take it, right? So they can't be around listening. That's what I think. They can't handle that kind of environment. And it does get cold and it does get wet here. Very wet out here. I mean, and it does get very cold in Ohio, which is why, we cannot be entirely so far overrun. But they're waiting for a point when we can be. Yes, I would rather have them fighting with us too, B. Freeman, than against us. And, well, like I said, I don't think we've ever been alone here in our existence. I don't think we've ever been alone. There's always been others. And we might even be the newbies. Yep, Linda, we might even be the newbies as far as that is concerned. So, because I don't really believe we evolved here. If we evolved anywhere, it wasn't here. No, we're not adapted for this place as other species are. As a matter of fact, Sasquatch is way more adapted than we are. Way more. Every ape is way more adapted than we are. So, no, this didn't happen here. And of course, if you believe that the missing link was an ET, you're probably right. Or more than one ET, maybe a lot of them. Yeah, I think that there were many species that had a hand in what we have become. And I believe we have changed over quite a lot, probably over time, quite a lot. So, hello, James. Yeah, so much to my surprise, we are going to be battling things that are coming from below. Some of us have kind of thought this for a while. Well, it's true as far as I can tell. It gave me shivers and just opened me to all of the multi-dimensional aspects of me. There's an aspect to me that's on a spaceship, really. There's an aspect to me that's back at what I call the library, which is the living library that in another dimension. There is an aspect of me. It just showed me several of my existences that are taking place concurrently with this one right here. And I keep doing this because I have my little cowboy cat. He is such a sweet boy, but his fur gets up my nose a lot. And there's nothing much you can do about it. He's just a furry little guy. I can get like a wastebasket full of fur off of him every other day. I look at him and I go, is this where all the cat food goes? Goes into growing fur? But I swear he loses 1.5 pounds every time I brush him. But so he's my little companion. It's good to have a dog or a cat. They sense things better than we do sometimes. And it's good to have another species corroboration with what you're seeing. In fact, I just heard that the person I was just listening to was saying there was a woman who had an encounter, and she was being told all this love and light stuff, but the cat had wet the bed. The cat had been afraid, and she wasn't. Well, there's a reason. The cat had reason to be. He didn't feel like this didn't turn out to be a positive thing. The person was fooled. The cat was not. So your animals will tell you. It's like they're an auxiliary gut instinct, right? They function on instinct. And I mean, Cowboy is very opinionated. There's some people he will go up to. There's some people he won't even come out from under the bed to come see. There's people he hisses at. There's people he comes up and rubs on. He's very opinionated. Listen to your animals. Now, it doesn't always mean the person is evil or something. It just means there's something there that maybe you should take note of that you're not noticing. Hey, Simon, what's up? Yeah. Oh, well, thanks. Thanks, Linda. Yeah, I don't have any here right now, but I've been putting a little bit of the comfrey cream around there because it's so itchy. But I forgot to do it before I came on here. Yeah. Yeah, and it varies. Like sometimes he will come up to see people and sometimes he won't come up to see them. It's the same person. If they're in a mood or up to something or whatever, he's real sensitive. So I pay attention to that. Hi, James. Wow, it's really something to see Simon here. You've never been here before. Welcome. Yeah, we have quite a lot of abilities that are going to be coming up for us. Now listen, we have these tremendous cosmic energies coming in that are altering us. This is necessary. This is going to happen. But please don't let anybody tell you that it's going to happen because of a nuclear war. That's going to be a stage in our evolution. Or that the next stage in our evolution is transhumanism. Please. We're perfectly capable. Here comes the chills again. We're perfectly capable of transforming ourselves. Thank you very much. We're completely capable of evolving naturally without that kind of thing. And no, that is not the way it's going to happen. Now, maybe on some version of the planet or Earth, whatever you think we are on, some people say we're not a planet. Okay, fine, we're a realm. I'm not going to argue about it, okay? There's no use arguing. It's a matrix anyway. Why argue about what shape it is? Me, I'm hoping it's a rainbow farting unicorn. That would be fun, but it doesn't matter. It's code, it's frequency, and it's vibration. And that's being proven to us all the time because we can alter things through frequency and vibration. And code, off on, yeah. That's what everything runs on. Look at it, polarity. Everything is polarity, even the little yin yang symbol. It's about polarity. Feng Shui has to do with polarity. Everything has to do with polarity, right? It's what we run on here. What does that mean? Everything runs on what? Mathematics, a universal language? That's code, man. It's all code. To me, it's a done deal. Yeah, this is a matrix. We're in a matrix. Okay, fine. Let's get beyond that. And what are we supposed to do while we're in here? What are we doing here? Why are we here? Well, some of us are here to fix the broken matrix, fix the inverted matrix. It's been virused. We need to fix it. Yes, we're working on that. It's happening and it is changing now. And this is part of the flux of the universe. And we talk about the Kali Yuga cycles and the other cycles, and these. Well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? We're on the upswing right now in this particular reality. We're on the upswing. And what we are outside of here, I might have gotten a hint of what we are outside of here. One time I had been doing some psychic work, and we decided to knock off and call it Miller time and go to a bar. But I was still in that frame of mind. And I look around the bar and I realize that it looks a little bit like Mos Eisley Cantina. Everybody was not who they appeared to be, because this overlay that I have in my mind when I get these things, when I see these things, it's not out here. It's like an overlay over what's out here. And I'm looking around and I'm saying to my friend who's aware that I can do this, I'm saying, oh my gosh, nobody here is actually what they seem to be. Nobody here is actually human. They're all different species. And I'm like, now I'm wondering, am I seeing their background? Or am I seeing who they are outside the matrix? Because we know these are avatars. Yikes. So now, hey, is this woo enough for you? Am I being woo enough for you? Yeah, constant toroidal field, constant donut earth. Yes, I believe probably the toroidal field is what's really happening, even within this matrix. And I think a toroidal field makes the most sense to me. Absolutely. So, and Pam says, woo woo. Yep. Do we have woo? Oh, yes, we have woo. Yes, we have woo on this channel. We have much woo. This is why we call it deep woo. I'm one of the wooiest, okay? Yes, here we talk about stuff that just blows people's, most people are like, what? On your average guy just coming in would be like, what? Yes, well, we have gone that far in our discussions and our studies. We're not beginners here. Most of us have been looking into this stuff for a long time. And we've come to a few conclusions about our state of being. And one of the things is everything we've been told is probably false. I mean, I probably can, well, I believe that probably 90% of our history is false. What we've been told about our history. And that's obvious. I mean, it's really coming to light now. Part of it is this planetary body, which you can argue about whether there are planetary bodies. But astrologically, Pluto is coming through. And didn't I say when Pluto comes through, it's going to get wild because all of the hidden stuff is going to come up. And that is what's happening. Pluto is going to bring all of it up to the surface. All of it, every little last stinking detail is going to come up and be raked over. Everything. I mean, every dirty politician, everything that's been happening to our realm, in our realm, on our realm, through our realm, whatever, it's all coming up. You'll see. This year and next year, big years. What goes on from there largely depends on us. Hi, you agree with me, Hunter? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yep. And this is another thing. I haven't taken Ormus in a little while. I'm going to have to start, I think, again, because I've got all this stuff that I'm going to have to do. I'm going to need to power up. I've been kind of shown some things. The long times that I've been away, I have had a lot of changes happening that can't be seen, so easily on the surface. And I felt bad about being away so long, but it looks like I'm back and I'm going to be doing this more often and I'm going to be seeing you more often, which is great because I missed you all so much. I love you and I miss you. And I'm just going to have to use this way of getting in touch until I can get something better set up. I'm sorry that it has to be this particular format, but this is the one that I have available to me right now. Let me see. I'm trying to remember how to do this without taking myself off the air. Okay. Yeah, Pluto is having interesting effects. I was going to try and put the ticker up so that you know how to get in touch with me. But the only thing is, I hate to tell you, getting in touch with me by email, my email is so full. I have to go in and delete things all the time, and I miss things in my regular email. So if you want to come to MeWe, it's free. mewe.com. It's free. You can join our group. And if Pam or somebody would put our link in, that would be great. We would love to see you. My group is D Oceans Woo Crew, or we have the D Oceans Woo Lounge. You can find either one of them. You can talk to us there. We have one little gate you got to go through to get in, but it's just telling us how you found us. So it's not hard. I mean, we, have changed some things around with our groups, but we do have two different groups that you can belong to. One's just general, and the other is more intense chat. And you're welcome to join either one. And we'd love to see you there. But it's MeWe is just alternative to Facebook. I'm going to try and get some others started elsewhere, but really, I've been spending a lot of time asleep, and now I know why. When I saw all of the multiple places I was doing stuff, I mean, apparently I'm also some kind of a being that helps people cross over. And this has been proven to me. I will have a dream of, like, I had this one dream of a woman that I was with, and we were trapped under something, almost face down on some gravel under something. It was like there had been a cave in or something. And I kept saying we could sing to keep our spirits up. And she said, until the water comes. And I said, yes, until the water comes. And I was there with her. And then I hear a news story about a woman who was trapped under rubble, who they couldn't find a way to get her out from under there, and they knew the area was going to flood. And they finally decided that it was kinder, rather than crushing her outright, trying to dig her out, to just let her drown. And I said, oh my God, I think that's where I was. And then I saw like a wartime scene, and sure enough, things exploded in Ukraine. I think I may be, oh my gosh, is that part of me something like a Valkyrie? That'd be funny. My dad's side was Danish. That's, the Norse. Oh my gosh. That'd be bizarre, wouldn't it? But yeah, apparently there are different aspects of me doing all kinds of things. No wonder I'm tired. And when I'm sleeping, I get, I would get, I just uncontrollably sleepy. I got to sleep now. Well, then probably I'm off doing other things. Probably I need the energy to do all this other stuff I'm doing. Apparently, I really get around, right? Maybe these other aspects of me needed a little more presence to do whatever they were doing. So, do I understand all of this? Not from this temporal space that I'm living in right now. A little bit, yeah. I think I probably comprehend some of it. But could I tell you the whole picture? Probably not. Not from this viewpoint, right? I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot, I know a lot, I've experienced a lot, but really there's a lot to this. This is a big, big thing, this is a big universe we're living in. This is a big reality. And I mean, what's going on outside of this realm? What's going on inside this realm? Who else we also are. Apparently, now I know I can buy locate. I've done it here. I I really had to admit this when I was helping somebody clear something, do crossings over on their land. I was helping somebody with an entity that they were having trouble with, a poltergeist. And I start to see the land, and then I start to see these spirits. And then she screams, "How are you doing this? How are you doing this?" And I do what I'm doing. I open up the portal so they can go home and start dealing with the situation. And then afterwards, I say, "What were you screaming about?" And she says, "I couldn't figure out how you were on the phone and standing right next to me." I said, "What do you mean?" "You were standing right next to me. I saw it. And then they followed you. They all followed you." I'm like, "You saw that?" She said, "I saw the whole thing." She was just like semi-hysterical. I said, "Well, calm down. Calm down. That's what happened." She said, "I saw it. I saw it." I'm like, "Okay, this means other people can see it sometimes. That means we can see other people doing stuff like this sometimes. It means we have a heck of a lot more awareness than we even, just what we're being told. We have more awareness than we know, and that we care to admit, and that we've been told. We've been kept away from this, and our lights turned down, basically. Our awareness is stifled. We've been gaslighted a lot. Oh my gosh, so much. And living in this world is not easy, though. Living in this big, big, big reality is not that easy. It's very complex. There are sometimes when I kind of wish, "Hey, Circle K, how you doing?" Uh, yes, I guess I have always, Linda, helped people cross over. Sometimes I do it a little more personally than others. I think that's why I was on the battlefield. People were crossing over. And when I saw pictures of Ukraine, that's where I was. The terrain, yeah, the uniforms, everything. It, yes, I think it was helping people cross over there. Um, and then there's others, and it conformed to a new story from here or there, because I asked, "What am I doing?" And they told me. They showed me, "Okay, here's what you were doing." Okay, so. And I think that most of us are probably like this and don't realize it. So don't be hard on yourself if you need more rest than usual. Okay, because you may be busy in other realms, not, you know, not as needed in this one as you are in other ones. And you are still doing a very important function. You're not being lazy when you have to do this. You're doing what you got to do. Okay? So, and we all kind of have to accept this because we're we're told that we're being lazy or whatever. And it's not true. We're probably busy every moment doing something. Our spirits, probably. So don't feel bad about that. Uh, Seriously, folks, we have got, I guess, a battle ahead. Is it going to be nuclear war? No. That's not going to be allowed. And some people have said, no, that's the way we're going to advance that way. No, well, maybe on your version of Earth. I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's not going to be my version of Earth, though. My version of Earth, that's not going to happen. Although we may come close, like there may be a threat of that, or there may be some areas like sort of like we bombed Hiroshima, um, kind of localized things, but is it going to be a worldwide thing? That won't be allowed. And I'm not even sure that a localized thing is even going to be allowed. So, oh, swimming. God, I've been thinking about that. I would love, that's one thing I'm intending is that somehow I have a place to swim this summer. That would be lovely. I haven't been swimming in years now. Yeah, I don't think they're going to let a nuclear war happen. That doesn't sound right. And they're going to try and make Putin out like he's crazy enough to do it. No. If he ain't crazy enough to allow GMOs in his place, it's like he boots the GMOs. They get burned on the docks in some places. You try to bring GMOs into some places. Germany's another one. Won't let GMOs in the country. They'll burn it right on the docks if you try and bring GMOs in. What do they know? Well, they know what we've been told and what we've been called silly to say. They're not good for us. So, you know, uh, we live even a lot bigger places. Yes, we do. That's true, Linda. Um, we have very big souls. And like I said, I found out I can be in 2 or 3 places at once, even just in this realm. When I was talking on the phone, I was also over apparently standing next to this person clearing her place, crossing over souls. And then when we had a battle with these things that were out in the backwoods, I was in several places at once and several viewpoints. And I got to see one of the ways that I look is I look like a light being with wings, and I throw light rods. I've spoken of this before. I throw these rods of light that do things and then mostly light the place up so that, and these things do not like, by the way, they do not like light. It bothers them, especially full spectrum light. Really bothers them. They can't see and it hurts. So I think it does other things too. But that's etherically. Like I said, I'm an etheric. Um, I'm an etheric fiber warrior. I'm not a physical one at this point. Um, in this body anyway. In my other selves, I think some of us probably are. Some of me. Now, you know, it made me so swimmy to see, and We go on forever. We exist forever. I saw it. I started to see all of these corridors of time. It's all happening at once, and we go on forever because forever is all happening at the same exact second in reality. But we need to perceive it as linear here. And that is hard to wrap your head around from this viewpoint. But when I started to see it, it actually kind of it it was hard to look at. It was hard to take in. It was hard to make any kind of sense of. And people speak of this that have these experiences. They're very hard to make sense of. You have to be used to surprising things that are out of your paradigm. You have to be able to think out of the box, so to speak. So if you can do that, you'll be fine. If you can't do that, you're going to have some troubles. Um, thank you, Bilo. Circle K. Are you bi, Circle? It's okay. I am too. No, not bi like that. Bi Loki. Bi Loki. Okay. Yeah, you could have. Okay. Could have very well been. Um, our spirits are huge. Huge. You know? And we can just seem to be, but remember, what have I told you? You're divine. God is everywhere. God is everything. Everything that exists is a part of that continuum. And that means us, and we happen to be able to be aware of it. So, and to some extent, is everything aware? Possibly to some extent. Um, yeah, I'm flaming hetero too. Hate to tell you. Circle K is a flaming hetero. Um, I am so glad to see you all here. I was thinking I've been away so long. Am I going to have anybody left coming to the channel? I guess so. Thank God. Thank us, because we're part of that God, um, which is why I keep telling you you're divine. And don't ever turn that light down just because somebody tries to throw water on you or throw shade on you. It's like, don't, your light will dissolve that shade. So, yeah, Circle K is a flaming hetero. You go, girl. You go. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't really matter. You know what? Honestly, I know I've been in other kinds of bodies. I've been male and female. I've had different orientations. I don't really care what your orientation is, but don't expect me. Don't put a burden on me of remembering all your pronouns. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry, but that is something that you chose. And I will still stand by. A woman is a grown human who has at least two X chromosomes. I can define that. How come the nominee for Supreme Court judge can't do that? That's all I'm going to say. Yes. And if you're a man, you have at least one X chromosome. And that's going to be obvious even after you die. The body. And we're talking about the body. And this is just a body. This is an avatar. It's a very important thing to have here. But it is just an avatar. It's not you. You are the being. You are running this avatar. This little avatar, tiny little avatar compared to who you are. You are huge. And this is just a tiny little avatar. Let us remember that. Oh, that's right. And you have a dangle, right? Oh, there's Leo Medic. Hi, Leo. Haven't seen you in a while. Wow, everybody's showing up. I'm so happy. I'm seeing all kinds of people I haven't seen in a while. I love it. I love it. Yeah, some people are clipped. Yep. But it's going to be in your DNA. This body's DNA, even as it starts to decompose, they're still going to be able to tell that this body was female at one time, no matter what else you've done. So, I mean, and what you do beyond that is your choice, of course. I mean, if you want to live as something else, that's okay. I don't care. You can do that. But don't be coming in with a dangle to my female restroom in my stall. Don't be doing that. I'm sorry if you have a dangle and you're in my restroom. I'm not gonna fight you, but I'm not going to I'm not gonna want to have anything to do with that. That's just not quite the same thing. I sorry about that. Am I going to go into the men's restroom just for the heck of it? Not unless I'm really desperate. I mean, let people have some privacy, honestly. I think that's why I'm seeing a lot of in this area, I'm seeing a lot more single unit restrooms, right? Because you can only have one person, only one person should really be in there at a time. It's a one-seater. That's what's happening. That's what I'm seeing happen so that we don't have to deal with that kind of eventuality, which I think is probably smart. They just don't want to have to deal with it and the problems that it causes and the people going nuts with it. Oh, busy with all the animals. Oh, good. You've started videos again. Cool. That's cool. Yeah, all of us have had to take a little break for a while. Yeah. That's something that's been happening across the board. Is a lot of us have been having to take our breaks for various reasons. And I think we're getting upgrades and stuff. Like we've been saying, all these cosmic energies coming in. We're getting downloads, upgrades, all kinds of things are happening. And then we've been going through this COVID thing, which has been quite a trial in itself, right? So yes, it does. It does, Circle K. It takes a lot of energy to bilocate like that. Um, you were more magical when you were a kid. Well, you were more aware of it. You were not as stifled. Oh, the goat pin made of pellets. That's very creative. More dang energy. More dang energy. Dang energy. Said dang energy. I got dang energy. You got dang energy? I dang it. Dang well got dang energy. Dang it. I do. Right. Well, we have, okay, that's one of the things I want. Recently, whoops, I'm moving this out intentionally because I have to shift it a little bit because, okay, so the camera is moving. Woo, woo, woo. Um, I have to shift my way of sitting a little bit. So I was kind of crouching and it was kind of, I have to just shift myself a little more comfortably. You're all probably going to have some effects of all of this uh, sunspot activity and solar flares. So just realize that's going to happen. You're going to be getting downloads. There's all this cosmic energy. So just be kind with yourself. Try to eat the best food you can. Give yourself the best conditions. One of the big things that has been standing out for me is don't toxify yourself. You know, don't poison yourself. Don't allow yourself to be poisoned as much as possible. You will regret it because our systems are getting to the point where they just are not going to accept it anymore. I mean, when I ate that piece of cake and my arm just completely exploded, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. But yeah, it must have been a chemical soup. But that's the only thing I did before it went nuts. How do I explain that? Hi, Drake. How you doing? Yeah. So this is something that's going to be affecting us for a long time, you know? It's not even going to just be this year. It's going to be next year. It's going to be beyond there is even looking crazier to me than even I can even explain to you. Beyond next year is even hard to describe. I have to go slow with this in order to get any kind of detail at all. But expect disclosures on both fronts, and not just politically, but in the metaphysical world. As a matter of fact, at one point, it looks like at one point I'm mainstream news. Mainstream. I could very well end up being very mainstream at some point. I can't believe that, it could happen. There is a probability of that in the offing. It's like, what? It's kind of like when David Bowie said he was going through a Phil Collins period. It all it meant was he said he was always used to being alternative, and then all of a sudden he hit a time when everybody liked him. He was just commonly popular, and he wasn't even alternative anymore, and it just kind of shocked him. It's like, wait, I've always been alternative. Me, I've always been alternative. I've always been woo news. It looks like it's going to go mainstream at some point. This will be now just the news. Well, that'll be interesting if that actually happens, but it's just a probability. It's not set yet. So we'll see how that goes. That'd be funny though. Geez, that'd be funny. Um, yeah, unfortunately, we have some very tasty poisons here. Yeah. Well, pizza and beer is not necessarily toxic. Um, my advice is just try to poison yourself a little less. Don't do anything too crazy that is going to. I mean, what happened to me was I went entirely off of sugar and wheat and was eating organic stuff. And then I get a hunk of this birthday cake that God knows what's in there, right? I mean, they're even using something in some things now called high gluten wheat. Why would you use high gluten wheat when a lot of people have trouble with gluten? Don't ask me. Doesn't seem like a smart thing, but I guess it makes the dough more elastic. Ah, geez, though. Yeah, it's amazing. The times that we are about to see is what we came here for. Okay? This is the e-ticket ride. This is the big uh everything up to now has just been the opening acts. Now we're going to see the real show. The real event is coming up and we're almost on top of it. practically on top of it now. And I think probably by the end of next year we get to see the ETs. Looks like kind of late next year we get to actually see the ETs. But I ask, and I'll ask this again while I'm here with you. It's shivering again. It's shivering and it's really powered up and it's really swinging like crazy. I got a new mat, by the way. I'll have to show it to you sometime. It's a divination mat. But okay, are we gonna see are we gonna actually have them admit and show us ETs in 23? Yes, of our counting year. So yes, that's coming up. Is it going to come up maybe a little sooner? It could even come up sooner than that. Yes. Any questions about any of this stuff? Because I got my little pendulum out, and you know how dangerous we are. Ah, wow. Okay, glad I got to see you. I have to go. Okay, thank you so much, Linda. Good to see you. Um, yeah, pretty soon I'm going to sign off anyway because we've got an hour and a half, but we got so many people here and we're having some discussion here, so I kind of hate to just cut it off when people are having fun. So, but I'm probably going to uh, get off of here fairly soon, like maybe I'll give it another half an hour or 20 minutes. But I'm beginning to get hungry and um, oh, I just still am trying to get all my energy back. And so I don't want to overdo it. And besides, there are probably other places that you want to go and see some people. And I want to go say hi to some people too. Um, but everybody who's leaving, I love you. Remember you're divine. And hope you come back and see us soon. And I think to sort of wrap this up, if anybody has questions, like I said, me and my pendulum are here. And I asked a lot of questions earlier. And so it's been like burning up, really. Here's one. Let's see. Does it look like Trump's going to be winning? Or not? Let's ask first, is he going to be running? Is Trump going to be running? A lot of people probably are wondering. It looks like he's going to be running. Okay. Is the incumbent going to try and run too? He's going to make a run for it too, it looks like, even though, okay, is his party going to eject him first? Maybe. Not a well-worded question. Okay, just asking because I kind of know these answers already, just to see what it's going to say. Okay, so some woo stuff. Anybody got any woo to ask about? Well, we've been asking things about, okay, are the dogmen gonna join us in this fight? Yes, whatever this battle is. And there are other cryptids too, yes, that are going to be joining us in this battle. Because we have to, because it's the only way we can win. And this is our territory. So you see, that takes precedent over, yeah, I'm getting that. Like, I don't even have to ask. It takes precedent over all of the old rules that have been put in place to separate things. It's like this is going to be a big enough thing that we have to unite in order to overcome it. So, as much as it, I expect the Fae to show up. Fae, fairy folk too. Some of the Fae, some of the Fae are going to show up for it. The little people, definitely the little people. Hmm. Yes. Um, Merfolk, Merfolk. Apparently, there are merfolk. There are really merfolk, right? Yes. So all of the species. Well, that's very positive. We're all going to have to stand together. This brings us a sort of unity and peace in the end. Great. I'm all for that. Will I see an alien this year? Simon is asking, will Simon see an alien this year? Yes. Has he already seen aliens? You've already seen them. I'm getting very strongly, Simon, that you've seen them and not known it. Is that so? Simon's seen them and not known it? Yes. So you've seen them. You didn't know they were aliens because they just look like us. And will you see them again? Yes, you definitely will. Will it be obvious that they are, in fact, aliens, ETs, some sort, or aliens? Yes, it will be obvious. Okay. Weird. Are there any creepy hidden portal traps? Are there, if B. Freeman wants to know, hidden creepy portal? Yes, there are. Apparently, there are. Wow, it's being very positive today. This is kind of worrisome. um, yeah, we're not even sure what Earth is. I mean, but we are not alone. Oh, he wants to meet Carl. Um, I think all of us have got to just realize this one thing. Your next door neighbor could be an ET. You wouldn't know. Am I right about this? Freddie Mercury was either an ET or a hybrid. Am I right? Yeah. I figured this out. Yeah. It's a long situation of figuring this out. But Freddie Mercury, for instance, was an ET and still is somewhere. But he wasn't exactly human. He was either hybrid or an ET, and they are around, and they some of them look very human, and they're not going to tell you generally. However, I have met some that looked completely human. That when I once again I went into this bar and saw who people actually were, it turned out nobody in the bar was actually a human. But this is Kent, Ohio, so what do you expect? It's it's the place of weird. I mean, this is a weird part of the nation. So, and this particular place, it kind of makes sense that it makes sense. Let's just put it that way. So, how many of us really are from here? Even me. I know that I look different in some of my other places that I am. I look entirely different. I don't look like this. I mean, what does that really mean? That am I going to see an alien? Um, most of them, seems like most of them are a lot like us. Good, bad, and indifferent. Oh, I believe you, B. Freeman. Portal traps. Yeah. Yeah, the clothes. And you know what? The eyes usually do it. The eyes. The eyes are usually funky. That's one of the things that'll go kind of funky first. If they're like hiding, mirage like with some kind of technology or whatever glamour they're using, whatever it is that they're using, a lot of time the eyes glitch up. That's why they say eyes are the windows to the soul, I guess. Because there's been many a time, and I mean, there was a guy, I know he's a negative one. I know he is. He has a lot of mental control over people, though, and he shouldn't. There's no reason why this guy should be so popular. But when I look at the eyes, I see hate. I see hate and disdain. These people that think he's a friend, he's using them. There's no telling them that. Remember, some of these are very strong telepaths. As a matter of fact, that's what we're going to be dealing with. The ones down from below are strong some of them are very strong telepaths. They can make you think you're seeing something that you're not seeing. Would that be a portal trap? Yeah, I guess it would. Yeah, the eyes. Look at the eyes. And if they can't look you in the eye, or if you can't look into their, if you're having some problem looking them in the eye, that may be a tip off too. Or if they're having a problem letting you see their eyes, like if they're always wearing sunglasses or something, because that's one of the first parts that get glitches up, seems like. So the way they carry themselves sometimes, yeah, yeah. Sometimes the way they carry themselves, sometimes other things. Well, there's so many little anomalous things about human beings that you might just say, oh, well, it's just an odd little quirk about that person, when actually they're an alien. I mean, Freddie Mercury there was always something weird looking about him, though, to me. Proportions weren't quite right. He had the strange teeth. Um, and, sometimes their structures are not that different. I mean, they look close enough, but somehow every time I looked at him, he looked different, you know? Not quite, not quite, he didn't look quite normal to me. Maybe it was just my sixth sense kicking in. But I don't think he was. So, I mean, but there's been others like that. I don't think I think David Bowie was a hybrid. I'm pretty sure. Um, so he really was a spaceman, but just a goofy bloke, huh? You think so? You may be surprised. Interdimensional beings mess up my memory. You know what? All our memories are. I remember telling people about being abducted, but I don't remember the abduction. That means it's been erased. I remember before and after. I remember some of the results, although I don't remember the actual abduction. Although I remember telling people about it, trying to tell people before, but couldn't do it. No, and I had to shut up. But now I've forgotten the event too, and I think it's just been erased. I think a lot of us, you know, how this happens, I'm not sure. I've heard stories though that this is not uncommon. So, but I know it happened. I mean, I had the results. I had the missing time and the nosebleeds when I was younger. My dad and I both had nosebleeds, which were horrible, actually. It was a terribly scary time. Um, I'll talk more about it sometime. I have to tell some of my stories, I guess. We have to keep telling our stories. And in this way, we're disclosing. And in this way, we're making it unprofitable to keep the secret. The more of us that disclose our stories and believe, like I said, the more of us do that and hear it. And then all of a sudden it triggers something in you, a memory. Wait, I remember something like that happened to me. This happened to me with Dogman. It turns out, and here I am in Ohio, somebody's telling a story about an Ohio Dogman encounter. And the story he's telling is very similar to something that happened to me. The only difference is I didn't turn back around and see what it was that was behind me. And he did. He started running. In my case, I didn't. That might be the only difference because it was in a similar location in Ohio. I'm like, cornfields are really big for these dogmen and mounds. So it's kind of interesting, though, isn't it, that Anubis was a guardian of the dead and these dog beings are around mounds? Find that interesting. So, Bowie had great posture. Yes. Yeah, he had to be a hybrid, maybe even a full-on alien. I think maybe, but living an even life. Isn't that weird? And my friend always used to say, I can't believe how straight you walk. How straight you like my posture. Weird. Maybe you're right. Because I know I'm an interdimensional type. You might be right. Yeah. He says most people kind of slump when they walk. But I always had this interesting observation. Yeah, Anubis was some kind of dog man. There may be more than one species within these subcategories. There may be subcategories. There's subcategories of us. Why wouldn't there be subcategories of these other species too? wouldn't be impossible at all. I would expect it, in fact. In fact, I have heard that that there's more than one type of gray, that there are a lot of different kinds of grays. Some of them might actually not be dangerous. Some of them might be friendly, but a lot of them, I don't know. I don't have good feelings about a lot of them. Maybe it's because of what I've been through. Okay. Um, Certainly, they've disrupted our lives doing whatever it is they're doing. And they have put a lot of people, and not only at health risk, but they've ruined people's lives. I mean, flat out ruined people's lives with what they do, ruined people's health, gotten people fired, gotten people divorced, broken up families, um, scarred people for life. I don't see that as positive. Even if they had some bigger picture, they that needed to be done a lot better then. That was just all wrong, done all. Yes. So I'm not going to go too much into that, but you really, I'm having a hard time with believing that all that was the greatest, just a good thing. Yeah, I know I'm actually, there's a part of me that's actually sort of a periwinkle blue and very tall. And I got to see that at one time. I was with others who were like me. I had a vision of that. I was sitting somewhere in an odd place. These happen at odd times. And I'm just sitting there. All of a sudden, I'm just standing there, actually, with a group of us talking mentally. And we're all very tall, thin, sort of a purpley blue, talking mentally about various things. Yeah, that was entertaining. That was very entertaining. And that's what I get for being a shaman. And multidimensional, apparently. Anyway, I'm going to get ready to close it down. I love you guys. I want to know. I'm really happy to see you. I've missed you. Those of you who haven't been here too often, hope you're enjoying the show. I appreciate you coming. Um, okay, I love you guys. I try to always not miss a chance to tell people that I love them. Because you never know what kind of crazy stuff can happen. So I love you. Hope to see you next time. Don't forget that you're divine. And the truth is where you find it. And could be right out in the open, and you could be walking right by it, as we have done for centuries. So keep your eyes open. Keep your third eye open, especially. Okay. Blessings to all of you. Until next time, have a great night. Say hi to everybody. See you in some other chats. Oh, come on now. It's not going to let me end the show. This is funny. End. Okay, love you. Bye.